Today is a great day. Our deputy mayor, her first trial, came in at $4.3 million. Now, I know that's not city business, but what can I tell you? I think it was worthy of comment. Now, we have the LA County Sheriff's Department here today, right? Oh, that's right. We got to do that. I was in a hurry.
Excited.
Okay, do the roll call.
City Council Agency Authority Member Johnson. Present. Mann.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chairman Christ.
Present.
Mayor Chairman Paris.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We don't do the Housing Authority anymore, do we? Okay, that's right. Okay. The invocation tonight is with Dr. Jan L. Spencer from Living Way Foursquare Gospel Church. Welcome.
Please join me in prayer. Almighty Lord, as we approach your throne this day on behalf of our Lancaster City Council, our fine city, and our valley, but we realize we're also representatives of our nation. We are mindful of your distinct expression of intent through the message of your Apostle Paul that petitions prayers, intercession, and giving of thanks that be made here for these leaders, for these individuals in authority in our city. So we petition, we ask that each of them be directed by your Spirit in the decisions they make, and that they'll incline their hearts to your direction and take action with a quick obedience. We pray that in each issue brought before them that there be a clarity of righteous direction that is laid out and purposefully followed, so that, as your word says, we may all live with peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. This day we intercede for these who are gathered to represent, as we are led to believe, your expressed will for us as a city. And so we loose every right purpose in the proceedings that are forthcoming, while binding every evil intent that would hinder the advancement of your purposes in our midst or attempt to subjugate your intent by allowing something other than your good will among us. And finally, we give thanks for these leaders and representatives, knowing that as you work your will through their decisions, we'll be led into that which is good and pleases you, God our Savior, who want all men to be saved and come to a knowledge of the truth. We pray these things in the precious name above every name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Deputy Mayor, do you want to do the flag?
Sure. Face the flag, put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we have Chief Anthony LaBerge here today, and along with the captain, and we have a presentation. Do you want to start? And then I'll come down. Okay.
Members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chief Anthony LaBerge. He's the chief of the North Patrol Division, and he's up here today for the purposes of accepting a reward on behalf of one of our concerned citizens from Lancaster. And I'm going to give you just a brief overview of the case. On December 13th, 2012, a 14-year-old girl was brutally attacked and assaulted while she was walking to school. Despite the station's best efforts and a massive search, we were unable to locate the suspect that day or in the ensuing days. Fortunately, about 2 weeks after the assault, they were able to obtain the suspect's identity from a DNA sample that was taken. Unfortunately, despite the fact that the suspect was identified, detectives were unable to locate him despite their ongoing efforts. In order to preserve the public's safety, Mr. Paris graciously offered a reward, and in addition to that, we broadcast the suspect's identity and last known location on our AV's Most Wanted. Within just a couple of hours of broadcasting the suspect's identity, a citizen came forward, provided information which allowed us to locate the suspect in North Carolina within, like I said, just a couple hours of the airing of the program. And with the assistance of authorities in North Carolina, within a few hours after that, the suspect was in custody awaiting extradition. In May, he was found guilty of all counts, and in June of this year, he was just sentenced to 82 years to life for his crimes. So it's certainly an outcome that we looked for from the get-go, and it might not have been possible without the concerned citizen coming forward and providing information on where we could locate the suspect. And that's why we're here today, is to present that check, which we will in turn present to the concerned citizen.
We have to keep his name a secret. That's why we're doing it through the Sheriff's Department and through the Sheriff Boosters. But the message is real simple. You hurt one of our children, we will hunt you down. And we will do whatever it takes. And if that means that the mayor and his wife write a check, we will write a check every single time. But in this town, you do not hurt our children and get away with it. And I want to thank the Sheriff's Department for putting this guy away for 84 years. I wish that it was a different time. I could have hung him in the city street, but but it is a different time. And so here's for the citizen, and this is, I don't know if we're going to pass that on to him or give that to the Sheriff's Department. And but now turn it over to the Chief. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor Parris and the council members. We're very pleased to receive this check and present it to the Good Samaritan in this case. But I just want to again thank you personally, demonstrating when public and elected officials can show the leadership to the community, how the community needs to come together and support law enforcement in our efforts in keeping the community safe. Again, as Captain Nelson mentioned, a lot of hard work by our deputies assigned out here at Lancaster Station, as well as our deputies assigned to our Special Victims Bureau, our headquarters detectives unit downtown, was involved in this case. And despite all those efforts of identifying this individual, the fact that he had fled out of the county or out of state made it very challenging for us. But yet, this information came to us from a concerned citizen, and that's what we need, is that community involvement in order for us to do our job. So, again, I want to thank you for that leadership, the support for our personnel out here. Have some great deputies working the streets out here. And, again, thank you very much, and we'll definitely present it to the involved party.
Thank you. Next we have Kelvin. Oh. Yeah, you're going to let me miss a photo op? What's the... Joe, you work for us, not the Sheriff's Department. What is this? Oh, we don't want a check picture, do we?
We'll cover the grant.
Thank you. Thank you. Here we go. Thank you. It's much better than a check picture.
Oh, Joy is going to eat.
Yeah. Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. Thank you, Pat. I'm going to do that more often. They actually fed me.
Ron would like to do number 3.
Okay, Ron can do 3, and Kelvin will do number 2. Right?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. We just completed our first year partnership with AmeriCorps Vistas. This resulted just recently with the launch of our volunteer program, One Link, which is a community-wide program that connects our volunteers in the Valley with the various community-based organizations that offer volunteer opportunities. Once again, I'm pleased to announce that Lancaster has been named again a sponsored partner with AmeriCorps Vista, and we hope this will continue to be an annual tradition with this partnership. This year we have 5 new vistas that we want to introduce to you tonight that come from across the country as well as locally here. 2 of those vistas will continue to work with the One Link volunteer program, while the remaining others will work on the development of a new community wellness program under the direction of the Lancaster Neighborhood Vitalization Commission, and you'll hear from their chair, Steve Derryberry, tonight as well. So with that, again, we just want to be able to introduce the 5 new vistas. Lauren Berryhill, Johansson Gatewood, Rodolfo Rodriguez, Kaylin Kim, and Kelly Cunningham, who are here tonight to share who they are and why they're here in Lancaster offering their services. So let me start off with introducing Lauren Berryhill.
Mr. Mayor and council members, thank you for allowing us to be here today. We're extremely excited for the year ahead, working with the City of Lancaster as well as the community at large. So as you'll notice throughout our presentation, we are kind of all over the globe, or all over, the United States. I, myself, am from Mooresville, North Carolina, and the Lake Norman area. So it's about an hour drive from Charlotte. And I got my bachelor's degree in sociology at Appalachian State University in family development. Over the past 4 years, I've been able to work in the service office on our campus, connecting students with local nonprofits and kind of finding their niche in the community, their passions, event planning, all the such. And so that kind of led me to AmeriCorps this year, being able to work with the One Link program, connecting the volunteers in the community with nonprofits and organizations in the Antelope Valley. And in the future, I plan to attend grad school for for college student development, working with universities and helping future university students find their passions and being a mentor for them. And next, I'll introduce Johansson Gatewood.
Hi, my name is Johansson Gatewood. I'm from a small town called Lake City, and I went to college at the University of Florida, where I got my bachelor's degree in anthropology with a minor in health disparities in society. During my time in college, I spent a lot of time volunteering in hospitals, and my senior year I was an intern at the Rural South Public Health Training Center, where we worked with the community, working on their health needs and such. In the future, I hope to go to grad school and work with community health. And one of the reasons why I did AmeriCorps was to get some hands-on experience coming out of college. So I hope to bring my East Coast perspective to the West Coast. And now introducing Rodolfo Rodriguez.
Hello, my name is Rodolfo Rodriguez, but you can call me Rudy if you can't roll your R's. I'm from El Paso, Texas, and I've lived there pretty much all my life, except for when I graduated high school. I moved to Austin, Texas. Not sure if I wanted to be a doctor or an architect. So I actually became the first student in Texas to craft a dual degree program that focuses on architecture and pre-health. So I've spent over 15,000 hours in clinical settings across the Americas, including different parts of the U.S., Nicaragua, and Mexico. And I've used my architectural studio as ways to to design solutions to communities that lack access to health. So there's that. So instead of choosing architecture or health, I kind of want to do both. And I came to California, specifically Lancaster, because I've worked in the private and the public sector and in terms of healthy community planning. And I'd like to learn how the government also can make an impact in that regard. My plan is to obtain a Master of Public Health and a Master of Urban Planning at UCLA, and then continue on to medical school at Harvard University. And ideally, I'd like to work for the United Nations and help design healthy communities all over the world. And now presenting Kaylin Kim.
Hello, my name is Kaylin Kim.
I'm from Torrance, not too far from here. I went to school in University of California at Riverside, and I study biology. In the near future, I want to pursue a career in medicine. And during my college year, I was a part of a club called Riverside Health Connect. In that club, we try to reduce the health disparities in Riverside community. So being part of that club kind of inspired me to join AmeriCorps, especially in Lancaster, because I really want to have a hands-on experience with the community. And today is a National Dog Day, so this is my dog. So yay.
That's awesome.
And next is Kelly.
Hi, my name is Kelly Cunningham, and I'm local. I'm actually from Palmdale. Originally, I was from Orange County, but we moved up here when I was about 4 years old, so I've been in the Antelope Valley for most of my life. I recently graduated from UCLA with bachelor's degrees in both anthropology and sociology. And during college, I spent a lot of time volunteering at the Office for Students with Disabilities. And outside of school, I also helped coordinate some volunteer opportunities for a job for a law firm that I used to work for. And that's when I became really interested in the nonprofit world. So in the future, I hope to further my education and eventually run my own nonprofit. And that's why I felt really fortunate to find this particular program through AmeriCorps, because I get to gain experience in something I want to do in the future, but I also have the privilege of working in my own community in a different way than I have before and contributing. So I'm very excited about the One Link program, because that's what I'm working on. So thank you for this opportunity and for your time. And I would now like to introduce Stephen Derryberry, Chairman of the Lancaster Neighborhood Vitalization Commission.
Mayor, council, and staff, I'm Stephen Derryberry from Lancaster. I'm probably the least qualified person here today to talk about what we're here to do, and I'm very, very happy as the chairman of the Lancaster Neighborhood Vitalization Commission to have these vistas really to help implement this program that we've worked the better part of a year kind of crafting. It was pretty exciting for me to hear some of our commission members have spoken with the vistas, and we've spent, like I said, the better part of a year crafting this health and wellness program to dive into the communities and the neighborhoods in the city of Lancaster. And they've already come up with new ideas that the community-based organizations, the hospitals, and other organizations haven't even yet thought of. So the fact that we've got the vistas here is an absolutely great tool for us to implement this program, and I'm very excited. And our commission is behind these vistas. So thank you for allowing us to do this once again.
Thank you. Any questions? Hey, you didn't get off that easy.
No, for me, thank you, Mayor, for asking. Actually, we just want to welcome all of you home. We really want to thank you ahead of time for the time and the passion that you'll be giving to our community. Health is very important to us here in the city of Lancaster, and we applaud you for giving your knowledge to us so that we can continue to improve our community as we do. So thank you so much.
Anyone else? Thank you, Stephen.
That was easy. Thank you.
Number three. Yeah. So the next presentation is going to be presented by Council Member Smith.
Bring your fan collector. Come on over, stand over here. You can get some pictures. So about over 35, you can stand here, face the audience, and then they're going to ask you hard questions afterwards. So about over 35 years ago or so, I started going to the Devil's Punch Bowl. And so that's been a long time. I was a biology major and a bird watcher and everything. And there was a guy who was there, and he was a little bit younger than the guy next to me right now, and younger than I am now. And that was David here. And so July marked the 40th year that he's worked at Devil's Punch Bowl. And he's come down to the city of Lancaster and given presentations on wildlife, and he's been a good part of the community. He started over with Vasquez Rocks in 1971 as a part-time employee, and then he went and was reassigned permanent at Apollo Park. And then in 1974, you started at Devil's Punch Bowl.
Yes.
And so they have a little quote here. I guess they already asked you the hard question. So David's quote is, it says, "The best part of my job is that after 40 years of serving the public and protecting the natural resources of the Punch Bowl, I still never get tired of this spectacular place. I get the same great feeling when I look into this canyon. I always tell the public that they are responsible for my enthusiasm because they get excited when I share my knowledge with them, and their excitement feeds back to me. Even though people come into the Nature Center to ask me questions because they think I know everything," which he knows quite a bit. "The most challenging part of my job is that even after 40 years of learning, it is just the tip of the iceberg, and there is so much more to learn and experience about the Punch Bowl. And if anybody hasn't been to the Punch Bowl before, you need to go. It's a great place." So, David, congratulations, and hope to see you there for at least another 20. Right?
Okay. Number 4 is the presentation from the Sanitation District in the City of Lancaster, and Council Member Ken Mann will do that.
I have a little bit of assistance here. Dave Snyder is from the Sanitation District, and he's going to explain a little bit about the award that we're giving tonight, because we have 2 recipients. So go ahead, Dave, I'll let you.
All right. I'm with the Sanitation Districts. We provide sewage collection and treatment facilities here in the city of Lancaster. And once a year, we recognize industries, significant industries within the communities that we serve that have been good corporate citizens. And to be a good corporate citizen means that they're complying with all the EPA regulations that they need to, that they're getting their reporting requirements done and submitted on time, that they're staying current on their payments for the service, and that if they need any corrective actions, that they're timely about that. So there's a couple of industries we'd like to recognize tonight from Lancaster here, and we've got representatives from those industries that I'd like to come on up. We've got Ron Scott from Mission Linen and Uniform Services, and we've got Cynthia Alexander and Daniel Moreno from the LA County Probation Department Challenger Memorial Youth Center. And what they get is a couple of certificates and a window decal. So when other regulators show up at their facilities, they'll see that, hey, this is somebody that the Sanitation District appreciates having around, being a good citizen, good for public health and the environment. So I'd like to present these certificates and decals to the representatives here. So first off, for the Challenger Memorial Youth Center, your certificate and decal.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Yes. And to Ron at Mission Linen, your certificate and your decal.
Congratulations again. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh.
You want to-
What do you want?
Do one at a time, one more time with Ken in the shot. You know, present it first.
All right. This, yeah. Okay. Why don't we do this?
I'm going to do the softball, and there's 10 minutes.
How's that?
Got my window stick.
Yeah, that might get you passed for the next time around. No.
Perfect.
Okay. Congratulations. Okay, thank you so much for coming up.
Yeah, thank you.
Now for the big one. I mean, not that the others weren't, don't get me wrong, but this is so cool. These are the state champions from Quartz Hill. So Marvin, if you'll help me. Come on up here. Well, for those of For those of you who don't know it, the Quartz Hill Little League girls age 11 through 12, you guys are superstars. I mean, you should be on television, and wow. They won the state championship on July 16th of this year. They swept the regionals. They went undefeated on to San Marino, and in the Western Regional success with a 14-0. You know, come on, guys, that's humiliating. You couldn't have given one over Arizona. These are truly state champions. They are superstars, and we are so proud that you are from here. I mean, it makes all of us think, like, maybe we should have worked harder, you know, because the only way you could have done that is you had to work yourself to death. That is just phenomenal. Wow. Okay.
We have a coach also, and a manager.
Oh, we have a coach. We have John Scripter. Is he here?
Pete Smith.
Not here.
They must be from Palmdale, huh? Bill Kane?
Not here.
Palmdale. Yeah, come on down. I mean, we all know who really did this, right? I mean, how do you get young people to work this hard? You had really good parents or really mean parents? You didn't expect that, did you? Okay, who do we have here? Is Christina here?
No.
All right. Alicia?
No.
You know, we could have had a little more advanced work on this one. Savannah?
No.
Madeline?
No.
Maybe it was basketball.
Paige?
No.
Chloe?
Yeah.
Who's Chloe? Olivia? Hey, how are you? Aston? Savannah Haskins? I thought we were on a roll. Madison? Taylor? And Sierra's here, right? Okay. You know, the hard part in life is just showing up. And because you showed up, you each get $500 scholarship. Okay? Yeah, let's do it right. Just move like this, and we'll stand behind you. Okay. Oh, that's a great idea. You guys want the skybox for a game of your choice next year. How's that? Now, see that guy over there? He's getting all upset because I said of your choice. That could really mess up his plans. But no, you get the skybox at the Jethawk Stadium for the game of your choice to bring all your friends. Now, you can't bring any of those people that didn't show up today. But but anybody you want to bring, you can bring them to the skybox. Okay? Does that work? Good. And make certain they, get out on the field, they get introduced, I mean, this is something we should really celebrate when we have state champions. Wow.
All right, everybody say cheese 3 times.
Of course, the other side of that, the scholarship thing is you have to go to college, so. Good. Thanks, guys. I'm really proud of you. take Chancellor? Me either. Okay, we now have Barbara Boswell, who will be making the next presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Paris, Deputy Mayor Zetto, and council members. It's my pleasure to present to you, or to let you know, that the city has received the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for our comprehensive annual financial report for the year ended June 30, 2013. The Government Finance Officers Association is a national organization that recognizes high standards in financial reporting, including demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the CAFR. So I'm sure you've all been motivated to read our annual report. The report, the achievement is not just the result of the work of just one person, it's the efforts of a team. And that team is led by the efforts of Pam Statsman, the Assistant Finance Director, and Tammy Holliday, our Accounting Supervisor. So I would like to recognize them and thank you for your leadership. And I'm proud to present this, and we will display it in an appropriate place. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. Okay, City Manager, anything to be removed?
No, sir.
Before we go on to that, Diane Grooms has a meeting with the school board. She's on the school board, and she wanted to speak on something. Come on down.
Hi, thank you very much. I do have a School Boards Association meeting with all of the school board members from throughout the city tonight, so I appreciate your opportunity
Are they giving
to speak.
me an award of appreciation because they like all the...
Well, we are
Probably
putting
not.
education first, just like you do, so there we go. I am the chairman of the Antelope Valley Homeless Coalition, and I am here to speak on behalf of your agenda item to discuss the possible moving of the Metrolink station. And I wanted to talk with you a little bit about the goals of the coalition. Number one, our goal as a coalition of all service providers is to work in collaboration to end homelessness. So whatever we can do together to work on that, we would like to do. We also want to increase the housing opportunities for those who are disabled, who are ill, who are veterans, and our homeless families. That's really our key focus. We also are working, and I personally have been working very hard to bring additional financial resources to help the cities in our efforts to reduce homelessness and improve the quality of life of not only the homeless, but of all of our citizens. So I wanted to say that I truly support your idea of studying this idea, because if moving services from one location to another improves the quality of life of our business community as well as our citizens, then I think that's a good thing, so long as we're just moving them and not eliminating them. Obviously, I'm going to be on the supporting side of maintaining those services and bringing more services from the Los Angeles area up here to make sure that we get our fair share. Okay.
Diane, I have a question. You're our LASA representative for the Antelope Valley. In your opinion, are we getting the funding that we deserve from Los Angeles County?
Keep your eye on the newspaper headlines. There are a dozen people in the audience who have been doing some very hard work the last 3 months, and we're not at liberty to give you some details, but please keep your eye on the headlines.
Diane, wait a minute. You don't get off that easy. We are the most underfunded, underloved, undersupported area in the entire state. What happens to us up here in regards to homelessness and people with disabilities is a crime.
I agree.
And this is the first I've heard that you're a representative on the agency that spreads the money around. I don't want to hear what... Wait a minute, I'm not done. I don't want to hear about what's going to happen in the future. I want to know what's happening now. And I want to know why you have been so quiet on this issue. I want to know why. And I'm not done. In a city where I have people, if you're an African-American male, you die 15 years earlier if you have kidney disease than if you live in L.A. And what I hear from you today is keep your eye on the newspaper. What is happening in this city and in this area because of the absolute criminal neglect by L.A. County is intolerable. And I am unwilling to laugh it aside and say, let's wait and see what's going to be announced in the newspaper. We are getting 10% of what how much? 2%. And nobody has said a word for years until the vice mayor has organized with the churches and is now demanding some type of accounting. Where have you been? What really is going on here? We are counting people who die as a result of L.A. County's criminal neglect. And you are on the board that distributes that money.
No, sir.
Why am I hearing from you just now?
I'm not on the board, but I was recently elected to the Coordinating Council for LASA, which has elected a representative from a provider for each of the 8 spas. So I was elected to that board last year. It was a new board. We do not have any say in the funding. However, what we did have is the opportunity to speak as a LASA-created subcommittee to demand what we wanted. And Vice Mayor Christ and Mr. Bozigian were there at a meeting where we had LASA representatives in our community. What I have been doing for the last 20 years is trying to get the word out among our providers as to what we can do. And it's only the homeless count that LASA did that actually put a quantifiable number on the number of our homeless. This last count, we did a very thorough opt-in count. The city of Lancaster was involved, the city of Palmdale, and by osmosis, we knew that the rest were out in the county area. So we now know exactly where they are, and we know exactly how many they are. And if anyone has been working hard on it, it's been your homeless providers, the nonprofit agencies, and the boards of directors of those nonprofit agencies who have worked to provide those services to this date free of charge of county and City of Los Angeles funding. We in this area have only received 2% of the funding, and we have kept that battle going. And with the help of people like Judy Cooperberg on the Mental Health Commission, who now has a lot of people who are very concerned that they're not getting enough money for mental health services up here, and with some private foundation funding, which we expect to be announced in the next couple of weeks, not LASA funding, private foundation funding that we have been lobbying for. This is what we're going to be bringing, and this is what's coming out. I am not at liberty to tell you that right now because of the agreement I have with the funder, but there is some new opportunity there. That's what I've been doing.
I think that whole group has been acting as a shield, shielding the Board of Supervisors from the absolute criminal neglect that they have inflicted on this community. And it is only because the vice mayor started investigating that now people are making some noises. I need you to do something more than count these people. I need you down at that Board of Supervisors and calling them what they are. You know what they are? They are complicit in the death of hundreds and hundreds of people in this valley who did not need to die because of their absolute neglect of what is occurring up here. Now, I've said it. Why aren't you guys saying it? Why are we the lone voice in the wilderness on this? Because there couldn't be a more serious, dire circumstance than people dying 15 years earlier for no other reason than the money money is being held down in Los Angeles and not being provided to us up here. As you can tell, I'm a little disappointed in 20 years, and what we get is you counted them. You have to do more. Am I absolutely clear on this? We do not get to protect our friends who are sitting in office and not hold them accountable. If you're unwilling to do that, step aside. Step aside and get somebody up there with the courage to call murder, murder. Because when you deliberately set out to plan to send people up to an area knowing that there are no medical services capable of keeping them alive, what else is it? What else is it?
Mayor Paris, I've been working for the nonprofit sector for some time, and we have been saying this over and over. But you folks have far more power and far more, you get noticed, and what you say matters when each of you speak. But we on nonprofits don't get listened to. And this is
You have to say it first. You have to say it. And what I have been seeing for 20 years up here is no one with the courage to say it. And we are tired of being the lone voice. I am absolutely serious, Diane. If you are unwilling to express the courage that it takes to literally save people's lives, you do need to step aside. This is not a social club. And that's how I've seen this problem being treated. I see it as a social club. Now, I'm sorry if this is incredibly harsh. It is meant to be. It is meant to be. Let's be clear about the consequences of our inaction. 2% of the homeless dollars available result in people dying needlessly. And I am not seeing the sense of urgency from any of you that I see being expressed by, finally, the churches and the vice mayor. Nobody's getting a pass on this anymore. The consequences are just too severe. Are we clear?
I know what you said. I'm not sure that I was heard.
No, you weren't. You weren't, because I do not see the effort that should have been there. And until I don't want to hear the words. I want to see the activity. I want to see the outrage. I want to see people saying enough, enough. Could you do that?
Then I would like the privilege to be able to meet with you and your staff to talk about
At
the
any
things we
time.
have done and where we have felt unheard in the rest of Los Angeles.
Anytime. Thank you.
Where was it? You're on SANB1.
No, I think we have nothing to be removed, right?
That's correct.
Okay, we'll now hear the staff report from Barbara Boswell.
Good evening, Chair Paris and members of the board. The item before you at this time is a recommendation to adopt resolution number SA 06-14, which approves the transfer of properties constructed and used for a public purpose from the Lancaster Successor Agency to the Lancaster Redevelopment Agency to the City of Lancaster. These transfers would be recommended pursuant to our long-range property management plan, which has been approved by the Department of Finance. And the properties being transferred are currently being used for public purposes, and they will continue to be used as public purposes. I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number SA 06-14.
One note before the council votes, if I may, Mayor Paris. Just wanted to note that these properties are located throughout the city of Lancaster, and this action does not impact their use or sale. Therefore, there is no conflict for any council member to vote on this item.
Great. Thank you.
Good. With that, then I'll
Well, I'm so happy to hear that. There's a second. Let's vote. It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, any speaker cards on the council minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve M1.
Second.
Second.
Let's vote by voice.
Aye.
Aye.
Consent calendar. Any items to remove from the consent calendar?
We need to remove CC6 and CC12. And we have one speaker card. Oh, and
CA2.
CC7 and CC8.
And CC7 and CC8? All right.
Just to
Mr. Reeves.
clarify, I'm sorry, is
Oh, no,
one of
he's
those
speaking
being-
on these, right?
Correct.
So can we,
Is one of those being tabled or just removed to be voted on after?
Just voted on afterwards.
All of them are. Okay, I thought we had one that was going to be removed.
okay, we're removing 6, 7, 8, and 12. Let's have a motion on the remaining items.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar as currently comprised, removing CC6, 7, 8, and 12.
Is there a second?
Second.
Let's vote. Okay. Michael Reeves. Oh, that's right. Unanimous. Michael Reeves? How's the election going?
Can I still speak on the ones you removed, or?
You can speak on whatever you want, Michael.
Mayor Perez, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I have no objection of the city trying to preserve neighborhoods, but I would like a more in-depth report on how we've accomplished this with the funds that we spent for purchasing housing. We need to have a staff report saying how many houses we've acquired, how many we've sold, how much is it going to cost us before we spend any more money. I would appreciate that before we go into spending any more money for housing in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll move that we approve CC6, CC7, CC8.
Is there a second?
Second.
Let's vote.
Need to do this one. We need to do this one separately. This is the one that we voted against. That ordinance.
All right. Okay, we still have CC12. Is there a motion on CC12?
Do we need to announce a vote on that last one?
6, 7, and 8 were unanimous.
What? Is there a motion on 12?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Let's vote.
I'm sorry. No, I forgot we were on 12. I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
Sorry, sir.
Okay, let's vote. And it's 3-4 and 2 against. Marvin Christ and Sandra Johnson voting against it. All right.
That was a different vote. That was a different vote.
You know, people like variety. And it's really a boring council meeting, isn't it? I mean, I'm just so mellow and...
Yeah, it's okay.
No speaker cards on ND1.
Okay. Waive a presentation on one, right? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Let's vote.
There you go.
Passes unanimously. NB2?
We have one speaker card.
Okay. So who's doing the presentation?
Ms. Rhonda will do the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Paris and Council. Before you tonight is an application. We request that you approve the application for a grant from the 5th Supervisory District to apply for refurbishment funds for Eastside Pool. As you may or may not know, Eastside Pool was constructed in 1983 and is heavily used by over 250 residents every single day. That also, in addition to that, 3 high schools use it for regular swim meets and practice. We have done some small repairs to the facility, but it is aging due to its heavy use, and so we hope that this grant will allow us to refurbish the skylights, the pool deck, refinish the interior of the pool, do some upgrades to the changing rooms and things of that nature.
So we ask that you approve the application for grant funds in the amount of $300,000.
For a pool, 300,000?
It's cheap. It's cheap.
That's cheap?
That's cheap for what we want to do.
It's for, yeah.
Really?
It's for a roof repair, and some of the things around at the pool would be more expensive, you're correct.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you. Michael Reeves.
Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen, I've used the pool on the east side. I think it's a great pool, but we need to have some public input on improving that pool. Right now, if you go around lunchtime to use the pool, you can have as many as 3 people using one lane. And then on the far end of the pool, you have a shallow area that's supposed to be reserved for seniors or whatever. We need to improve, maybe, I don't know how they can enlarge the pool, but it's ridiculous sometimes when you have 3 or 4 people in each lane going around in circles trying to swim. Of course, the changing facilities need to be altered. Over there, they're outdated. The way they have it set up, where you hand your stuff, a lot of people don't even turn in their clothes and stuff. They take the clothes with them out to the pool area because I don't think they want to leave it in the changing area or whatever. So there can be many improvements, but basically, number one, they have to increase the lanes for more people can use the pool for lap swimming. And it's supposed to be for lap swimming. It's not supposed to be for family swim during lap swim. So we need to make sure that's emphasized. But otherwise, I think they do a pretty good job over there monitoring the pool, and I'm glad the city has such a nice pool for us to use. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt resolution number 14-58.
Is there a second? Let's vote. It's unanimous. NB3, any cards?
No cards.
Let's waive the presentation. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion we adopt resolution number 14-59.
Second.
Let's vote. It's unanimous. NB4.
No speaker cards.
Let's waive the presentation. Is there a motion?
Public hearing. No public hearing now.
I motion that we approve NB4.
I'll second that.
Let's vote. It's unanimous. On the council agenda item number 1 on the Air Quality Management District, what is the status of that?
The status is that we have asked our attorney to look into the Venal Power Center and to look into how it affects the power plant, our current power plant. That was approved.
Allison, did you get a chance to read that case?
Yes, I did.
Tell me your take on that case in regards to whether or not the power plant's ever going to be built.
Well, if the permit that the Palmdale Power Plant received was based on the prior standards to those in effect at the time the permit issued, then it would appear to me that the Sierra Club versus EPA case would apply and those permits would be invalid. Now, whether they would be able to get additional permits in the future, I couldn't speak to that right now because they would have to reapply. But this could be a game changer, and the AQMD needs to look at this very carefully.
My concern is that if I mean, we're part of that, whether we want to be part of it or not, because we're part of the Air Quality Management District. And presumably, they're going to have to pay the legal fees if, in fact, those permits are not valid. Am I on track here?
I believe I'm tracking what you're saying, Mayor Pierce.
Am I accurate?
My understanding is that the City of Palmdale is defending and indemnifying the AQMD for any challenges to that approval, and it will be important that we keep following up with the AQMD to ensure that they're enforcing that defense and indemnity to make sure that other members of that JPA don't end up footing that bill.
Well, then the other issue that comes up is if, in fact, these permits were issued inappropriately, and it seems that they were. Is that right?
I'm sorry. I was distracted in the middle of your question.
He went to Paraclete. It was very loose there, discipline-wise. They never should have let those nuns out of the classroom. In any event, my reading of the case is those permits are invalid. Should we be reassessing our position in regards to the power plant, which I think we've all decided is detrimental to us?
I think this case merits relooking at the issues with regard to that power plant, yes.
Okay, how best to go about that?
I think the first stop is AVAQMD and its counsel, and I can certainly follow up with her and see where they're coming. She's coming in her analysis, and if we disagree, then we'll be back before you, and we can discuss whether the City of Lancaster wants to take any other action.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Next meeting?
Yes.
Is that enough time?
We'll find out, but I will come back to you.
I want to keep it on the calendar.
It will absolutely be on the calendar.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Now, Vice Mayor Christ, you're the one who's got me all spun up today.
Well, that took a while.
Okay, I would like to take a look at the Metrolink station and the impacts that it has not only on the boulevard, but our entire community. I've talked with our safety officers. I've talked with the Sheriff's Department. I've talked with a lot of the owners of the boulevard. There seems to be a problem with the Metrolink station, the security of the station itself, the transient. How's it pronounced, Ron?
Transient.
The transient.
No kidding. I didn't know that either. But, you know, I'm a product of Palmdale High School. Well, not really, am I?
That's where the vice mayor went too. Maybe that's why you pronounce it the same way.
Absolutely. And our senator and the other mayor. So I would like to open up a dialogue to look at what we're going to do with this station. It's not safe. There's a lot of... is Lee DeRico here? Can you come up? You've done some surveys. You've looked at the Metrolink station. You've taken a view of it. Can you tell us your views on it and what you found out?
Well, it's come from a myriad of issues that we've had in the downtown area and extending beyond east of that all the way down to Antelope Valley High School. So in accordance with some of the complaints that we're receiving, I actually met with maintenance staff, facilities maintenance staff, and Metrolink personnel with their security personnel to talk about things we could do to address some security issues, specifically around the Metrolink station where our ridership was being impacted by transitory homeless population that was creating issues there. From that, we did some studies on evaluating individuals that were arriving into town, especially in the morning arrivals of the trains. And on one particular day, we counted and contacted over 67 individuals that were coming here for transitory services being provided. And they indicated to us that the train was their main mechanism for moving throughout communities to obtain those services. Beyond that, we also took our task force teams and we went out and conducted, along with the LA County's model about surveying for services, and made contact. My staff, as well as the Sheriff's Department, went out and focused on our population of individuals that were homeless in the downtown area, as well as east of the downtown area and south as far as Avenue K. Now, a majority of the individuals that we found in the downtown area were, again, not our local homeless population, but were of that transitory group that comes here, and their primary mode of transportation to our community was the Metrolink train.
Just so everyone gets it straight, 67 in one day.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, based on that, we're continuing to work through that process. And there's a twofold of that. For our local homeless population, we have a limited amount of services. We're trying to make a determination on what other services they may qualify based on their status of homelessness, whether they're a veteran, whether they're a Social Security recipient, those type of things, and direct them to services that are appropriate for them. But the contention for us is there's a overabundance of transitory homelessness that are using up those local services that we have for our local population.
Thank you. Mr. Wazian?
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
I got some. Of what possible benefit is this to the county that they want to keep that Metrolink station open? I mean, am I missing something here? We have a station that doesn't seem to be providing a substantial benefit to our citizens that we couldn't take care of just by doing better bus routes to the station to the south. But we're getting a lot of resistance from the county. They don't want to close it. And I'm thinking, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out 67 homeless people a day being shipped from downtown to us. I mean, isn't it about time we quit being victims of downtown Los Angeles? I mean, I have never been comfortable in the role of a victim.
Well, I would say this, Mayor Paris, we, in our conversations with the folks from representatives from Metrolink, on their facility side, they were very cooperative. On their security side, not so cooperative. Okay, the biggest major complaint is they want to describe it as a we problem while they're creating a mechanism that impacts resources in our community. Mm-hmm. The discussion was, what are they doing to ensure that the ridership is truly being utilized by commuters as it was designed versus becoming a mechanism for individuals to access services throughout the county? And again, we came to agreement on certain things that would be done to manage that issue at the station. And as of this date, that meeting was probably 8 or 9 months ago, has not taken place. None of that have stepped up to that. The only place in LA County where Metrolink actually ensures that individuals are ticketed to ride that train is at the main central station. Beyond that, there is none. No security whatsoever other than to make sure that nothing occurs at the station itself.
Nobody takes tickets, is what you're telling me.
Pardon me, sir?
Nobody takes tickets.
That's correct. They count on contract Transportation Services Bureau has with the Sheriff's Department, and it's grossly understaffed as far as ridership on those trains. So it's hit or miss.
So does that mean that any of us that want to get on the train to go to L.A., we can ride it for free?
You can take the chance to ride it for free, and just so happens on the low percentage, yes, correctly, that a deputy sheriff contacts you, you'll receive a citation, but only based on that contact.
I bet they only give citations going south, don't they?
No, I would believe they do some north. We find some in some folks' pockets, but again, you're talking about a transient homeless person.
Right.
That usually they're issuing a warrant arrest at some point for some low-key violation. And in the current status of what's occurring in our jail population in early release, it's meaningless.
Do we have to vote on closing that station, or can I close it today?
No, we need to do some analyses before we can do that, particularly with regard to the environmental impacts of closing the station. That would be a discretionary action that would require CEQA compliance, and we're undertaking those efforts now.
Well, I imagine that eliminating 67 homeless people not from this area that are being shipped up here a day is going to have a significant environmental impact. But it'll be on the plus side, right?
I would agree with that.
We nonetheless need to make sure that we do all the appropriate studies before we take such an action, and also you're not agendized for action tonight.
But this action is not based upon our homeless population. It's based upon Southern California's homeless population that are being shipped up here. We'll take care of our own, but if they want to ship them up here, they need to give us the funding for it. We're not getting our proper funding that we should receive right now. We're getting 2%. We should be getting 12% of the total population. Skid Row gets $4,500. We get $279 per person. So we're grossly underfunded. We have a tremendous problem, and this is one of the problems that we've identified. We're working on the other problems. It's not like we haven't identified the other problems, but this is one of the problems. But I think we should, I'm meeting with the downtown business owners next in a couple weeks. So I've asked them to get together, give us their input on what they want. But it would be my request that we direct staff to look at what it would take to actually close that station and take action based upon their recommendations.
You know, I guess people should have figured out by now that I don't really hold much back, and I'm pretty transparent in what I'm thinking. We're going to get a lot of heat from the county on us closing that station. They don't want that station closed. And we know why they don't want the station closed. 67 homeless people a day is why they don't want it closed. Any way you slice this, that's the way it is. And it's a much bigger problem, what we have with a lot of the nonprofits. As soon as one nonprofit gets their slice of the pie, then they become very protective of the county. Everybody involved in the process is such a great guy. And the cumulative result of that is we get 2%. 2%, which you've already heard me rant about the effect of that. And, you know, for those of you that I can see the letters coming in now, and the letters to the editor coming in now. Yeah, I am beating up on people, even if they're volunteers. We live in this city. There are no such thing as volunteers. It affects all of us. And we can continue to have this be deluged, what's that word? Deluge? I wish I'd graduated from high school. We can continue to suffer under it, and the quality of our life will continue to diminish and diminish and diminish. Or we can start saying, if you want to get in the process, if you want to lead nonprofits, then you have to do a better job for the entire community, not just your segment of it. And, you know, I guess everybody figured out today that nobody's getting a pass anymore. And when the county starts screaming what a monster we are for closing down the homeless station, make no mistake, the homeless station, the train station, make no mistake why we're doing it. If we could stop the flood, we could take care of the people that are here. We could actually figure out a way to get people back to work. We could take care of the health needs. You know, once you have a defined problem that isn't growing every single day, you can get a plan and you can fix it. And it means saving lives. And I just hope everybody keeps that in mind and gets on board, to use a train metaphor. We're not sitting by any longer.
And we will take care of those people that are currently using the Metrolink station by having a bus bridge with the AVTA and taking them to the closest Metrolink station. So we will take care of our citizens. Just for everyone's information, the ridership is down from 416 last year to 373, so the ridership is going down. It is cheaper to ride the buses. It is $7.50 right now to ride the buses to LA. It's $13.
No, it's free on the train. What are you talking about?
That's why it's...
I think that's the paying group, though.
And it's faster, too, isn't it, through the bus? It's faster.
It is, and we'll take care of those people if we do decide to close it. But we do want public input, and, you know, we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. It looks like we're doing the right thing. It feels like we're doing the right thing. But the city of Lancaster needs to be heard. It needs to be heard that we will no longer be the stepchild of the county. Okay, we're receiving 2% of the funding when we deserve 12%. Okay, and what's going to happen next year is that LASA has decided that they will no longer count our hidden homeless, which are the people that are hiding in cars, in sheds, breaking into buildings. They will no longer count those people because in all of Los Angeles County, we have the hidden homeless. In the Skid Row area, they have 0 hidden homeless that they're funding. We have, I think, over 400. Or 4,000, I'm sorry. So there's a big difference. So they've decided they will cut that off of our count, too. So we need to be heard on this. We need to, our particular, I have met with Mr. Bozigian, I have met with 4 of the LASA directors, including the executive director of LASA, and they say that there's no more funding coming to us through LASA. It's already been allocated, and if there's any unused funding, then they can take a look at it and go in that direction. This is unacceptable. So thank you, Lee. Thank you for what you do.
And we're going to keep working on it. Again, the biggest thing is identifying who truly are our local homeless population, and that's been the challenge.
I guess now would not be the time to talk about identity. Never mind. It's going to get messy in the next few months, and I hope the community stays with us and supports us. But the consequences are just too severe. And we're not going to be making decisions based upon personalities and how nice a person is. We're going to be making decisions based upon what they accomplish. And until people start accomplishing what needs to be done, they're not going to be getting all smiles and pats on the back from the city. I'm tired of people dancing and in public meetings while people are dying out in the desert. That just is an intolerable situation.
I do also, I'm sorry for, but we've done our part. The faith-based community has got together. They have done their part. It's becoming overwhelming. We've had to use overflow into the fairgrounds. We used overflow last year into the fairgrounds. We obtained buses to do the overflow into the fairgrounds. The Fair Board worked with us on that. So it's not like we're not doing anything. It's just we're getting overwhelmed by the system, and we're not getting the proper funding that we need. That's what we need to bring everyone's attention to.
And as you say, both Mayor and Vice Mayor, this is not that we are not embracing our local homeless. That's who we want to take care of, is our local homeless. And with all of the efforts that our Vice Mayor just expressed with our faith-based and the group, that with us putting all of that effort, if we were just to be able to take care of our local homeless, they would be better taken care of, as opposed to accepting 67 people a day from the outside. So I agree that we need to be very proactive, and we have council members here that aren't scared to speak up. And we've proven many times as a city that when we all come together as a community, we are heard, and people do react. And that's where we are now.
Carol Crapson.
Good evening, Mayor, City
Good evening.
Council, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here tonight not to talk about whether the Metrolink should be closed or not. I wanted to talk about the services that our agency provides. I read the article in the paper, and I support the aggressiveness of the city in getting LASA, and more importantly, the federal government, HUD, to give more money to this community. God only knows that my nonprofit has been arguing that and fighting that for the past 17 years. Consequently, we have gone from a program that only provided referrals for about 10 years, that was all the money we could get, $200,000 worth, to homeless programs over $1 million worth. We operate 5 homeless programs right now. We are housing homeless. We are doing outreach. We know where the homeless is. We're providing the services. And that wasn't mentioned in the paper. I would love to come and sit down and talk with you on how our agency, Valley Oasis, could work with you in your quest. You know, Mayor Paris, you're very, very strong-willed, and I really appreciate that. When I go down and I talk, I'm the person that always calls the elephant in the room, that there's an elephant in the room that needs to be discussed. And I'm not very popular down there, and I really don't care. Valley Oasis has been helping homeless and getting people off the streets now for over 10 years, and I've got my program manager of our homeless programs here with some numbers that I would like to share with you. you. We work side by side with Grace Resources, Desert Vineyard Church, as well as Salvation Army, as well as Mental Health America, in getting the homeless problems solved. We want people off the boulevard too, but more importantly, we want them out of the desert. We want them out of the homes. Last year, we invited and challenged the Community Action Board of LA County to come up and look at our issue, because our issue is not Skid Row, and that is my mantra. We drove them around the desert in the middle of August. They made the choice, the silly people. We said our air conditioner was broke. We wanted to give them a real experience. We took them around to Lake LA. We took them out to Antelope Acres. We took them everywhere, near the city, outside of the city. We took them out to the encampments, and we said, welcome to our world. When you set up a count that is from 4 and 6 in the morning in January, you're not going to find our homeless laying in a cot somewhere. You're going to find them entrenched. And they went down there, they made a video, they had us down, they gave us awards, and they said, wow. And now, when you talk about homeless at the Community Action Bureau, they use SPA 1. And recognizes what we do out here for our homeless, and it is not Skid Row. And so I would like to invite Patty Rivetti up, she turned in a card, to talk about some numbers of what we're being able to do and how we would like to help you with your quest, because we feel we can, and we feel like we've got the right attitude to do the job. Thank you for listening.
How do we separate our problem from LA's problem? I mean, it's... I mean, other than stopping the flow, is there a way to do it? I mean,
Absolutely there's a way to do it, and I think you're doing it, and I know that we're doing it. We go down there, and we on purpose place people like Patty, myself, Diane, in committees down there to raise that voice. In fact, we had one issue that was happening this past year where SPA 4 was getting 3 votes on every issue, where each other SPA was only given 1 vote. We yelled and screamed about it. I knocked on the door of the CEO of Lawson and says, this is not fair. Why do they get 3? Well, they're 3 different areas. And I says, okay, fine. Then give us 5 votes, because we are big enough to have 5 different areas in SPA 1. They lost their 3 votes. They only have 1 now.
Okay.
So, you know,
and that's the agency that divides the money up?
LASA is just like a funnel. Most of the funding comes from HUD, and how the count is done, when the count is done, that's all dictated by HUD. Who gets funded, how much? They're using a system. I went down there and asked them, how are you deciding how to count homeless? Because if you count it in downtown and you count it in the Antelope Valley, that's 2 different ways to count homeless. And this was a system that was developed in New York City about 80 years ago, and they decided to count in the middle of winter because no one was on the streets or under bridges. Everybody was in homeless shelters, so it was really easy for them to count. And now they're using that same system up here, and I'm saying it's not fair. It doesn't work in our area. Mm-hmm. And if you'd like to hear our statistics of what our agency is doing, what we're doing to help this community, we just got, as Diane said, I'm not at liberty to talk about the new grant, but this is foundation funding, this is private funding. We are working with money coming from Antonovich's office as well as Kaiser Permanente to assist us.
Wait a minute, money doesn't come from Antonovich's office, it comes from the County Board of Supervisors that he's our rep.
I stand corrected. Right? We are working with different...
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
And if we're only getting 2% and we have 12% of the problem, why are we grateful?
I'm not grateful. Okay. What I am is mad. And that's why I have called Antonovich's office. That's why I'm working with his deputies. And that's why I'm working with Kaiser, is that we need more money to do the job that we asked of. And I'm getting a positive response.
Okay. Am I correct? What I've been hearing, and I mean, you know, we've been dealing with this behind the scenes now for several months. Mm-hmm. We're just now rolling it out. What I've been hearing is that there are some nonprofits that are really very well funded at the expense of others that are not funded at all. Or very little funding. Am I correct in that?
When you're referring to serving homeless?
Yeah.
Yes, but the funding streams are different. Mental Health of America is a wonderful example of working with homeless, but their funding comes from SAMHSA, which is for mental health services, where there is a huge pot of money, and then they also have a fabulous grant from the Veterans Administration. And there's more money coming from the Veterans Administration in the next few years to work with this population of homelessness for female and male vets and families. And it's we at Valley Oasis, we're at a meeting last week talking about how we can get some more of that up here. They said they weren't invited up here, so we're inviting them.
Is there anything locally that is taking a look at all the funding for the different agencies up here or different nonprofits up here and examining whether or not there's an imbalance?
I don't think that's happening right now, no, sir.
How do we do that?
Get a committee together and ask.
Got any free time?
I have lots of free time for you, sir.
That's the committee that you established with Stephen Derryberry as chair. That'd be a great idea for them to look at that as well with the help of some of the nonprofits.
When does that commission meet?
I don't know yet. I'll have to talk to Stephen. I know he's been looking and he's got some ideas on a couple of people, particular people who do research to be part of that group. So I need to talk to Stephen about the date.
Let's get the numbers of every nonprofit up here, of where their funding comes from, how much of the total amount is being distributed and where, and then let's decide what to do about it, if anything. And also, let's look at the executive salaries. All right? Okay?
Okay, so I'd like to...
We're going to have a lot of work. No,
That's great. Bring it.
I want to hear from everybody. But let's be clear on this. I want to take care of our local homeless population.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to be an attractant for other people's homeless population. I want to have a stable population to work with as much as we can. And it seems to me like the first step in that is to cut off they're literally putting them on the train, aren't they?
Okay, last year there was a program called the Family Solutions Center. It was a pilot project that was multiple funders, the City of Los Angeles, LASA, the county, as well as other private foundations. And one of the things that they did, they had a central coordinated entry point, which was 211, which is a nonprofit in Los Angeles. So all people that needed homeless services were funneled through 211. And 211 would do an assessment. They would determine where the family's origin was, and they would send them to that particular spa. So the train went both ways, to use your analogy. If we received somebody that came in wanting services at our organization, we sent them through 211. If they originally came from Orange County, San Gabriel Valley, we'd put them on the train the other way. And that program was not successful. It was eliminated, and it was changed to now the Homeless Family Solutions Services, and that part of that is no longer in existence. That program is 4 months old now, and we are being able to place a lot more people that are local. And like I said, Patty has some numbers, and I think they're very enlightening as to how many people we serve and how many of them are actually from out of the area.
Are you overwhelmed?
Well, of course we're overwhelmed. But what we do is going to be overwhelming to you guys because we are incredible with a staff of about 10 people.
Well, I don't have any doubt that we can have an incredible impact if we would just stop the flow and have a fair distribution of funding.
I agree.
But, why do we expect fairness? We haven't gotten it in a long time.
When you get on the plane, sir, don't stop in L.A. County, go right back to the capital, because HUD is the one that makes most of these decisions, and they're the ones that control the dollars.
Yeah, we're aware of that.
Yeah, I know
We've had our skirmishes with HUD. I'm sure we'll have some more.
And I bet you'll come out on top.
I talked to Kevin and McKeon in regards to it.
Okay, thank you. And
You're welcome.
so the next person is, who did you suggest I talk to next? Patty?
Patty.
Patty? Come on up, Patty.
Good evening. I'm Patty Rivetti, and I'm with Valley Oasis. I oversee the homeless program that's been in operation for about 13 years now. Like Carol said, we have about 5 different grants coming out of that particular program. I do have a copy of some numbers for you, if you'd like.
We do.
What I do with these numbers is I'm a part of the Homeless Coalition that meets once a month, every first Wednesday of the month at the Firehouse Training Room. And what I do is I produce what the homeless program over on Sierra Highway, right behind Grace Resource Center, what we do on a daily basis, the numbers that we see, the new singles that we see, the return singles, the new families, the returning families. Also, too, I want to just say that we were successful in 1 year's time to permanently house 192 families and singles, and that number, about 98% of it was our homeless population here in the Antelope Valley that was placed. What we've also been doing with our homeless program is we've been sending individuals and families out. Last year, we had an opportunity to send out 11 singles, places as far as Nebraska, Virginia, New Orleans, and such. Families, we sent out 5 families thus far this year. Last year, we sent out 8 families to be reunited with their families in other states and other parts of California, like Indio, some back to Los Angeles. Also, 13 singles we sent out as well. So it's a continuous problem that we're having, is that, yes, we're getting a lot of homeless individuals and families coming through the homeless center, and we're able to work with them. Our biggest barrier right now for our homeless population is housing. There's not enough of it, whether it be here in the Antelope Valley or even out of the area. So what we're looking at is we're trying to work with different organizations and agencies to create maybe some more permanent supportive housing, permanent housing for our homeless population.
What do you have planned to do that?
When do we plan to do that?
No, what are you planning to do in regards to that?
Well, we've got, at our last coalition meeting, we had an organization, offhand I cannot remember, but they're looking at coming up here, speaking with our city, and seeing about building perhaps some housing for our homeless population. So we're in the process of getting together with them, seeing what they have to say, how they want to go about doing this.
Patty, this graph is very nice. Thank you so much for presenting this. My question to you is, with this graph, how are you able to know if they are outside L.A. County or if they live here?
What we do is when they come into the center, some information is taken right off about, there's a sign-in sheet, and that sign-in sheet has their name, whether they're a veteran, are they returning to us, are they new to us, and then we not only have their age, but then we have the question, where do you originate from? Are you from the Antelope Valley? How long have you been living in the Antelope Valley? So that we get an idea of where they're coming from. And pretty much they'll say, yeah, I've lived in the Antelope Valley all my life, or I just came up from L.A. We had an incident where just this past week, we had a family come up from the Weingart Center, which is in Los Angeles, and we sent them back. There was nothing we could do, because what we're working with now with the other spas is if you start the process down in any of the other spas, stay in that spa, and we won't do anything. Because what we do is we have a real, we're still working with 211, and we're working closely with the other 7 spas. And what we do is we communicate. So if we know we've got somebody that's coming from another area, we'll contact that area, find out what they've been doing, and then send them right back. And that's what we've been doing. We've been pretty successful at it. And truthfully, we've spent a lot of thousands and thousands of dollars, redirecting people back where they came from.
Right.
And also putting them, on the train, on the bus, to get permanently housed with families or friends out of state, out of the area. So this is a mission of ours to help reduce the impact of homelessness on our own community. And like I said, we've been doing this for 13 years, and we've had a pretty good success rate, but it just seems like every 10 that we get permanently housed, we get 5 more. It's a growing issue, but we're really focusing on just our community's homeless,
Right.
getting them off the street and into permanent housing.
Right. And what is your definition of a local resident, or local homeless, I should say? Is it a day that they lived here, 30 days, a year? What defines to you a local?
A year or more.
A year or more.
A year or more.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question. You said that you put them on the train and send them back.
Mm-hmm.
What is the process with that?
What we do is, we have to do an intake because our grants, we can't spend any of our grant money until we've intake that individual or that family. So once we've done the intake process, then what we do is we purchase the Metrolink ticket. No, they don't go for free. We purchase the ticket and we send them back where they came from.
Could other people be doing that to us?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. But once, in the intake process, we have to gather documentation. So in gathering that documentation, we find that, no, they're not from here because of their driver's license, their proof of homelessness, because they'll have an eviction paper or something that's not from this area. So we know that they're not from here. So we do as much as we possibly can to redirect them back.
So why aren't we just limiting services to residents? I mean, if you're not able to demonstrate that you're from the Antelope Valley and lived here for the last year, we don't give them anything.
Well, we we're creative with that, sir, but it's per our grants. Our grants kind of dictate what we need to do and how we need to do it. So, not to say we haven't done that, because when push comes to shove, when we've got a handful of our own communities homeless, and then we've got LA's a handful of their homeless, and we've only got enough funding for this or this, well, we're going to choose this are homeless. So what we do is we're more than willing to spend the least amount of money getting them back where they belong.
So the Antelope Valley Coalition on Homeless, I mean, I don't know who's on it, but are they effective?
Yes and no. I mean, there's a lot of work to do. I've been a part of that coalition for, as long as I've been working with the homeless, and that's 13 years. And it's made up of our community agencies, such as Tarzana Treatment Center, the school districts from Palmdale, Lancaster. We've got council representation from each city.
What have they accomplished?
What have we accomplished? Well,
Who is our rep? Who is our rep?
Who's the rep from Lancaster?
John Loomis. He represents the city of Lancaster.
Who said?
Who appoints him?
It's John Loomis is in our Housing and Code Enforcement Division.
Liz did?
Liz Brubaker.
Was that Liz's voice I heard?
Yes.
Good enough for me. No one else would have got away with that, Liz.
But we've had a lot of communication with LASA. They've been coming up to our coalition meetings, and we're working right now on the upcoming homeless count.
I'm sorry, once you stand up there, you really got to, it's not a great place to stand sometimes.
I know, I'm going to sit down. No, I'm fine.
What have they accomplished?
What have they accomplished? Well, I can't specifically say that we've ended homelessness, but through our mission of trying to eliminate or reduce the homeless problem here in the Antelope Valley, we work closely with LASA. We kind of regulate what we want to see in regards to funding, like Carol said. We let our voices be heard of what our communities need here in the Antelope Valley.
Patty, shouldn't we recognize that we failed and we should do it differently? If they're only giving us 2%, but 12% of the problem, shouldn't we recognize that whatever we're doing is not enough and we have to change tactics and change strategy?
That's what we're trying to do, sir, through our being part of the coordinating council in LASA. We're trying to really speak out in behalf of our community. It's a slow process, it really is, especially when we're not dictating where the money's going. All we can do is continue to present our numbers and say that, yeah, we need more than 2% here. We may not get the 12%. We deserve the 12%, but if we can achieve 10%, and then we can work on the other 2% as we go along. But yeah, we recognize there's definitely a need. We're underserved, underfunded here, and that's what we're working on as a coalition. It's a slow process. I wish it was a lot faster, but the reality of it is because we don't set the pace. HUD does through LASA. It's just it's a hard fight. It's a hard fight, but we're not willing to give up on it.
You're not.
I'm not, yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, what the sense I get of it is that there are some people that are truly committed to this, and then there's some people that LASA is using just as, well, we listen to the community, let's go on about our business. I mean, it's a government trick. I mean, we've seen it 1,000 times.
Absolutely.
Let them yam, and do what we want to do.
And
I mean, we're really trying to change that here.
Yeah.
But it seems to me we also need to be changing the people that sit on those boards and those committees to people like you. I mean, you guys are doing something. You execute. You feed somebody. It's not a social club, and perhaps we should be paying more attention to that.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I'd like you guys to think about is maybe we should find our own private source of funding that has some profit-making venture that we're running, that goes right into the nonprofit rather than begging LA County for crumbs.
Absolutely. Well, we'd love to work with the council members here in our city.
Put her on the A list, would you?
Yes, sir.
You're going to be busy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Patty,
Yes.
your numbers, they're consistent across the board for what you do from the June to July for the year. You're like 390, 426. How many of those on a monthly basis are repeat customers?
Well, you'll see the return singles here. Like if you look at June of 2013, we had 99 return singles, and then again those return singles in July, 54 of them came back, and it just goes right across the board. And you'll see that was new singles, return singles 83, new singles. It's who we didn't see last month that has come in, whether they're from our community or from another community. We still have a lot of...
A chart in front of you?
Yes.
Hey, I'm reading the month of June, you have 99. The next month you have returning singles of 112. How is that a monthly basis?
Because what we did, it was... When you say 112, we're looking at May. See, every month I do this, I knock off a month. Okay, so it's
every other month.
So in July, it's showing, so I'm going back to June, it shows 99 singles. It says returning singles is 112.
Right. So it's like this, sir. If you counted out the whole homeless population, let's just say 500. Okay, so we know we have 500 singles, and they at some point in time come to the Access Center. The 400 of them might come in June, and then all 500 of them come in July. It's who we see. It looks like it's skewed here, but it's not. What it is that when they've come in before, they're a return single.
What is the percentage that you have that return?
Oh, gosh.
System-wide?
Well, we see on an average, we see anywhere from 30 to 40 people a day. And out of that, probably 65% of those coming into the homeless center are returns.
So 20 people out of 30 are coming back?
Yeah.
Back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay.
And to permanently house someone, it's a process. It could take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks based on their income. So they keep coming back, and working with them, getting case management. Because it's not all about permanent housing, because they need that support as they're being permanently housed. And after they're permanently housed, then we have to case manage to make sure that they are able to sustain housing. So we go through money management, several, things for independent living skills, just able to make sure that they're sustaining once we place them. And we don't place them in something that they can't afford.
Are you the lady that was working with the fair and when we were moving the male population over to the fairgrounds during the
No, sir.
months?
No, sir.
Who was that?
That was probably Stacy Waddle.
Stacy.
She's the program manager for the Lancaster Community Shelter.
Okay, thank you. What specifically can we do for you that's within our grasp?
I think just to support us, love to meet with you, to sit down and talk more about exactly the services that we're providing, what we are actually doing, not just for the homeless within our agency, but the homeless in our community. So we'd love to sit down and talk to you about some of our barriers, what we could do together to overcome those barriers so that we can increase our services and our permanent housing for our homeless individuals and families.
Mark, set aside a day. I want you to filter out the people that like to ride in parades and do nothing. And what? It's true, right? I mean,
It was an interesting way of saying it, I was smiling.
But that's what they do. They ride in parades and do nothing, right? Filter those people out. Get the people that are actually doing something, that are executing, and let's just have a day, you think? And to take the whole day and have a summit and figure out that at the end of that day, we don't go home until we have 3 things we're going to accomplish that are going to be significant. All right? You want to do that?
Sure.
And in order to keep the parade riders out, I can only have 2 council members there, right?
So that would be better, because I think people would speak frankly if it was a private meeting at first.
Okay. I don't want any Brown Act problems. But
Then only 2.
And help them with the list of people who are doers.
Thank you. Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
If 3 of us wanted to attend, we could agendize it.
Yes, you could, but then it would be a public meeting with public comment, et cetera.
Thank you.
Okay. Merle McLernan? They actually ride the bus free, huh? I mean,
You can, I don't.
free. Okay.
Yeah, no, I know people that ride to school every day free. They don't get caught. So, it happens. Merrill McLernan, owner of MDM Architects, been on the Boulevard for 17 years, also part owner of Kinetic Brewing Company. And directly at the train station, and Mark's going to come talk to us as the Boulevard Association in a few weeks, but the train station is supposed to enable a community to move around. Our train station doesn't really do that. I heard the number 300 a day. Is that the number I heard?
No, 68 a day that were
Well, no, I mean
homeless.
300 actual commuters a day ride it.
373.
373. So for 373 people, we're getting 67 on a good day. Maybe it's less, maybe it's more, but that day it was 67. It's kind of a skewed number to me. So our train station isn't really doing what it's supposed to. It doesn't seem like.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And that is just transfer the problem north.
Well, you know what? It's not doing what it's supposed to for us.
Right.
Because
right.
transportation centers in a good city are a positive element. Okay, I'm an architect. I get
Sure.
that. People like to move around. I mean, that's where we're going. So a couple of questions. How much money are we spending on these 60-something people a day? I mean, we don't have the money anyway, but what's it costing us?
I think the real cost is the lost opportunity. We have a $100 million investment. I mean, not the city, but everybody in that.
Right. Yeah, I own a building right across the street and
right.
can't do anything with it.
If we don't solve this influx of homeless onto Lancaster Boulevard, we are going to lose it. And if we lose Lancaster Boulevard, we've lost our identity in many respects. I can't think of a greater threat at the moment to the city's development. We have to preserve that boulevard. It has to be economically viable. It has to be the center of our city. And I mean, I can't understate the problem that is being created by us being the end of the rail.
So I'll tell you right now, that's going to happen. The boulevard is going to stay, and it is going to prosper. And if it means moving a train station, that's fine. Right? Or changing who rides that train. You know, where did they come from? You know, who sets them on the train? This 67 people coming back and forth, are they riding for free? Or somebody actually giving them a ticket? Aside from the good programs we've heard from, they know what they're doing. But I've heard other people. I met a guy Friday night at Kinetic on the patio. He was desperate. So who's the victim? We're victimized as a city. That poor guy was a victim. Got out of jail the day before. He ends up here walking around asking for money. He has nothing. He had nowhere to go, no one to see. He didn't even know where the services were.
I used to think it was people of ill will sending folks up here. And then I realized that that's not what's happening at all. It's people with great hearts that are helping homeless people, telling them you can get fed up in Lancaster. I think it's a positive thing that they're doing, and you can get there for free. I mean, if you were downtown working with the homeless and their lives are in danger there just because of the criminal element, and I mean, it's a good thing they're doing. We just happen to be bearing the cost of it.
And last but not least, who writes these checks? How can we get 2% and not 12%? You know, where does...
The Board of Supervisors at the end of the day are responsible for how the resources are distributed. And I mean, it's just the way it is.
I mean, if the numbers are there, I mean, they've counted them. I've seen numbers tonight that I didn't know, but they're obvious. And if we know them, why doesn't the money just follow it? I thought it was a public program. Good question, huh?
There are a lot of people in the poverty game who, you know, they take care of their own income stream. I mean, this is not a conglomerate of people who all want what's best for the community. That's not who we're dealing with.
There seems to be some I somewhere else where the money's not making it to we, it's just staying with I. So anyway, I wanted to make a few
Let me
points.
answer your question on where it's coming from. The county decides, and it's a long period of time. So when you ask for help, which we haven't done for years, that you don't get any help. So we've just recently started asking for help. That's why it's such a small amount, and we're bottom man on the totem pole. Those that have asked for help for a longer period of time receive the lion's share of the money first. So they get funded first, those people that are just coming up, the facilities. So we have to have the facilities, and you can't build the facilities, you can't do any of the facilities until you get funded for it. So it's a way that we get held down for a longer period of time. Their system there at LASA does not work. Does that help you?
It's failed us. And sending somebody out in a desert because there's good food out there and anybody in poor health, the desert kills people.
We have a great...
You have evidence of that already, and...
Where's Pat? Did Pat leave?
It happens, so...
It's on you. I want every photograph of every body that is recovered in the desert. I want them delivered to the city manager, and let's show them the pictures of the bodies, and maybe that'll make a difference. All right? Good.
Yeah, I mean, some of them get an ambulance ride when they're dying, so they'll end up there, but it's unfortunate. Anyway, I just wanted to make that point.
So let's talk to AMR and tell them we want photographs of the people they're picking up. Just leave their face out, or we'll blank out their face, and let's just show them what the condition of these people really is. You know, it's really easy to get to feel totally good with yourself if you don't see the problem. You know?
Oh, it's there. Take a drive, a few blocks away, and it's there. So, anyway, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Michael Reeves.
Mayor Paris, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I gave everybody a handout. I hope you got it. I've listed four proposals that, recommendations or things that we consider. Number one, we can continue the same path we're on and support Grace Resources and the Lancaster Homeless Shelter through city and citizen donations. Number two, we can partner with the mission in Los Angeles to handle the shelter, fundraising, and related matters. Number three, we can remove the shelter from its current location and locate it near Avenue M. And fourth, we can enlist the support of the Antelope Valley Healthcare District to secure funds and help manage the homeless problem in the Antelope Valley. This is not a Lancaster problem. This is the Antelope Valley problem. And that means that we need to enlist the support of Palmdale. And we can do that by making this homeless and health problems in the valley under the guise of the Antelope Valley Healthcare District. Now, here are the rules, and the references are the California Administrative Code, the California Government Code, the Local Hospital District Code. In this, which I've quoted to you before, the hospital, Antelope Valley Healthcare District shall include but not necessarily be limited to the following: to provide the appropriate facilities to care for the health care needs of district residents and others regardless of race, creed, sexual orientation, or national origin. 10 weeks from tonight, we have a general election. You're going to elect a new congressman, maybe a new assemblyman, and you might elect some new people on the health care district board. And I guarantee you, if I'm elected on that healthcare district board on November 5th, I'm going to ask the attorney for the board to file suit against the County of Los Angeles and have the healthcare and homeless funds that belong to us transferred to the healthcare district. And I hope the council will support me by having the city attorney of Lancaster help the attorney for the hospital. I'm going to ask the same thing of Palmdale. Antelope Valley is special. We're different. There's 43 healthcare districts in California. For example, there's one on the beach cities. The beach cities have more to do with themselves than they do with the County of Los Angeles. Antelope Valley Healthcare District has more to do with the citizens up here. Those healthcare districts should have the functions and control the healthcare needs and homeless problems in those areas. And I intend to try and ask the attorneys to file suit and get those funds. We're going to sit up here and we're going to talk about this forever unless we act now.
Your time's up. This really isn't a place for campaign speeches. Only the council members should make campaign speeches.
Well, I'm just letting you know in advance, what I'm doing. I'm not campaigning.
I appreciate
exactly what I'm doing,
Michael,
if I'm on the board.
I appreciate your comments if it involves a city issue. This is not a place for people to come and make speeches on the hopes of getting it on television. And I would appreciate it if you would honor that, okay? If you want to talk about an issue that's directly before the council, fine. But no, this isn't a place to campaign, all right?
Okay.
Thank you. Is that it? Oh, come on down. You were late on your card, but this one time.
Which I can talk on too, but maybe I can speak on the homeless issue while it's being brought up. An idea would be, why don't you speak actually to people that are homeless and find out what happened, why they're homeless, what happened in their lives, what's going on now, things like that. That would, to me, be a good idea, maybe, to do that. Have someone go out there and speak with, or have someone that is homeless, which, I could tell you some stories as to why they're homeless. I mean, if everybody really cares and really wants to get to the bottom of this and really wants to find out why, they say there's no funding. Well, he's full of programs and taking people's houses. There's plenty of homes in this town. It's not like there's a problem with, not enough homes for people to live in, because there sure is. So, but building new homes, I guess, to house people in is maybe what, it's about. If we didn't have the homeless problem, we probably wouldn't need all these services that they have, the mental health, a lot of the services. For some of the homeless people, anyway, that's a big part of it. We wouldn't need some of the medical services, some of the, other homeless services that they offer. Today, I went up to Grace Resources to get food up there, because they have food banks, which, now I'm in this category where I need to do things like that. And not to be, not grateful or thankful for food up there, but if they're getting all this money and all this funding now to help the homeless people, I mean, the bag of groceries I got was like stuff that, people pretty much wouldn't even eat, stuff that, like cranberries, cans of it, cranberry sauce or salmon or, things like this, donuts that are smashed. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like, and you can't come back for a month. It's once a month you can go get a bag of groceries that had that kind of food in it. It's not even cookable food. I mean, it's, not to, like I said, not to be, I just want to know where all this money is going and where all this, they're supposed to be having these, when it was just to get you to come, you have to come to this orientation, you have to come to this other, program, or you can't even come back and get, the food the next time. I called to find out where you could take showers. And the people working there, the volunteers, couldn't even tell me that, They were like, well, just a minute, I have to ask somebody. So how is that, how are they there to help people, you know what I mean? Like, that's just one thing of many. I mean, to talk to a lot of the people out there that are homeless, too, and why they lost their homes, why they couldn't afford to pay their bills, why they couldn't, a lot of it's from losing jobs or it's being pushed out, Certain people, I mean, I've figured that, because there's certain people that have the job and certain people that don't now, and certain people that, don't want involved in certain things. So if you want to form some kind of a deal, find out what's going on, I'll head that. Let's get some people together and have them come in here and tell you what happened, why it happened. Doesn't that sound logical? Unless people just don't want to know.
I know a little bit about what happened to you, and I'm sorry that happened.
It's not just me.
I know that. But I want you to know that I am sorry that occurred.
If everybody's so sorry, then why does anybody do anything about it? Why do these programs keep going on? Why do they keep taking people's homes? Why do they keep kicking them out of jobs?
When
they're the ones that are qualified for these jobs, it doesn't make sense.
I don't think the issue is that people aren't doing anything. It's just that nobody's doing enough, because we don't have the resources to, and that's what we're talking about now, is how do we get our share of the resources so we can do something. But thank you for coming.
That's it. That's all.
That's all for right now.
Too, so, I can have people calling me tomorrow.
That's all for right now, all right? Thank you.
Well, Melendez, good evening, Mayor Perez, good evening, Council. I just want to make a few comments and observations. And I want to pass my condolences to the family of the young lady that lost her life. My comment this evening, Mayor Perez, is that I see the sheriff's deputies everywhere, and that's fine. But it seems to me that we hire the sheriff's department from Los Angeles. And and that's okay, with all due respect to the sheriff's department. However, it seems to me that they run around putting out fires that have already started, like firemen. And I want to bring to your attention the word cop and what its origin is. And as you well know, it means constable on patrol. Now,
I didn't know that.
okay, as far as that lady being assaulted, the criminal was hiding. When you have the police on patrol, and I know the sheriffs also patrol, but when you have your own police department for a city, for a town, those policemen are from that community, to use that word that's used a lot, community. So I'm advocating for a police department, and I know that I mentioned this myself to you personally one time, some time back, and you sort of brushed it off, which is okay. But that's the comment I want to make. Today I ate at the Senior Citizen. It was a very good meal. I had to wait a long time. I've been homeless before. And being homeless, what happens is that people fall through the cracks. In our great country, which we have a capitalist system, what you do, you can fail and you can fall through the cracks, and that's how people become homeless. I want to invite everybody to go out on the streets and not just ride around in your air-conditioned cars.
Thank you.
Lee, could you help him fill out a speaker card?
It's okay. It's okay. Let's move on.
What was his name?
Okay. CR1. Vice Mayor.
Are we done with that?
We are.
ABTA. At ABTA, we're doing a rate study. We are also having the executive director, Julie Austin, for another 2 years. We did her contract today. They had very good success at the fair with their Power On bus. And that's it. So not much happening at the ABTA.
If I could, I'd like to thank Councilman Mann for taking my place this morning while I was out of town. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Okay, any council reports? You know, I do want to say something, because I can foresee it coming. Everybody here is a volunteer. You know, they are. And the first time one of them tells me that, or that I say, hey, I'm just a volunteer, that's why I didn't do a great job, we're out of here. I mean, they're not going to be my friend. They're not going to be supported by me. Once you take on the job, I don't care whether you get paid or not get paid. You've taken on the job. And I can see that coming when we take on this homeless issue. People are going to be saying, hey, I'm just a volunteer. No. You're somebody who took on a job. And as long as you want to sit in that position, and as long as you want to ride in that parade, you have to do that job. And that's really what you're going to be seeing coming off this dais is an accountability for everybody in this community that undertakes the task. Because there is great satisfaction of being able to provide that to your community. It's not unpaid. The payment is far greater than I get for my daytime job. What the satisfaction we get doing this is just so much greater. And we're just going to be holding people accountable. And for those people who want to say, hey, I'm volunteering, I'm not getting paid, quit. Quit. Because if you don't recognize that you are getting paid by something far greater than money, we really don't want your help. There's a lot of people in this community we found that want to make this community thrive and want to help grow this community. And those are the people we're inviting in. I think that sums it up, doesn't it?
I do. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And so, no, Kitty, you don't get to get paid.
She just won $4.3 million.
She did. She didn't win it. She persuaded them to compensate her client for $4.3 million. It wasn't a lottery, was it? Actually, how many clients did you represent?
2,500.
2,500 people she represented who were being cheated. She did a great thing. I'm really proud she works for us. Okay, no action on the Housing Authority, no action on the Financing Authority, no action on the Power Authority. City Manager, any announcements?
Yes, I have a couple, and probably requires some transition from a serious subject, but I think one of the points in taking what we did is that when we control our own destiny, when the council gives direction, we control our own destiny, good things happen. In the next couple of months, you're going to hear a briefing and then actions by Jason and his team on the community choice aggregate, which is taking our own destiny. EcoStar, the citizens will see the roads starting to get repaved with product that the City of Lancaster is making within the next 60 days. We hopefully will have a partnership on some programs with the Lancaster School District, and working with the Vice Mayor, we're not waiting for funding from LASA, and I could say a lot about LASA, but it would not be kind at all. They hide behind everyone else not giving money and say, we'd like to help you, but we can't. What we're looking at is looking at funding a facility based on how do we as the Antelope Valley fund it. We have Kelvin and Patty working on that and a few others with the Vice Mayor, and I think we'll be able to bring something to you too. So when we do things, then when we take control and when the council directs it, that's when things get done. And I think this is another subject that's going to happen with homelessness. I do have a couple of announcements. We do have Celebrate America, which will be September 6th, which is always a really nice event, good for the Boulevard downtown, good for the businesses, and good for the community. Always a safe event. One of our most popular parks is Hull Park because of the dog park there. I've used it for our dogs, and there's so many people there. Well, the council approved in the last budget, and you'll be seeing a smaller version of a dog park go into American Heroes Park within the next couple of weeks, which would be great for the seniors downtown and great for the downtown area. It's going to be very water sensitive with the bare amount of turf necessary. There'll be benches and stuff. So through the council's actions and appropriating the money, you're going to see that, and that's going to make a lot of people downtown happy. And then one of the things I think I was most proud of this week working for the City of Lancaster, Council's been very direct on job creation, not just big jobs like BYD and Morton, but helping people. We hosted the 4th annual job fair at City Park a couple weeks ago. Roxy Karamanian, who on our staff organized that, did an amazing job. She's not able to be here tonight. We were going to recognize her. She has a family situation she's dealing with. It was so well organized. There were 50 companies in the room. You could only get in the room if you had actual jobs to offer, and you had to have a minimum of 5. So there were 250 jobs there that were offered. We organized it so 4,000 people wouldn't have to sit out in the hot sun. If you registered, you could pick your time, so it rewarded those people who were serious about looking for a job, and they picked their time. They came, and there were people who got jobs out of this job fair. We have a short video to show you, but it was a really proud moment for Lancaster and the Antelope Valley. So with your permission, we'll show the video.
Job Services Network 4th Annual Job Fair, where more than 50 employers are offering more than 250 positions here today.
We're doing really good right now. We already have about 1,500 registered seekers that already have slot times. That doesn't mean the walk-ins, we're trying to accommodate them as well. But we're doing really great. It seems all the employers are here on time, ready to go.
Of course, the Job Services Network is a loose organization of different job developers from all the social service agencies out here in the Antelope Valley. We get together on a monthly basis, and once or twice a year we pool our resources and put big events like this to connect the public to employers who are seeking to fill their positions.
We are so grateful and thankful for the City of Lancaster being part of our partnership. They've helped us sponsor this whole entire event, so we're very appreciative about that.
We got great video, you know that? Thank you. Okay, City Clerk.
This is the time to address the City Council on non-agendized matters. Please complete a speaker card, which can be found on the back table. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. State law prohibits the City Council from taking action on your items, and items not on the agenda, and your matter will be referred to the City Manager. Thank you.
David Paul.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, good evening. Thank you, Mark, very much for that last inspirational, uplifting list of things that we do. I love to find the joy in life, and I'll tell you what, I have been very proud of the United States of America in the last few weeks. I don't want to put it in contrast to it could be worse, but we do so many things right that even the things that are terrible don't get so bad. We have people protesting and clashing with the police in the street, and such restraint is used even though these methods are under scrutiny. We don't kill each other in America. We don't drive car bombs up to the site of our enemies and blow them up. And just that makes me proud. That's what America is. I had to go back to a class I took last year on the brief history of humankind, and he was talking about the introduction of money, but I think that's what the United States of America represents to me as well. He talks about money as a fictional concept. It's a new intersubjective reality, mental and a psychological revolution, creation of a whole new imagined reality that exists only in our shared imagination. That's what the United States of America is to me. It's a concept. It's a construct of how we bring people from everywhere together and get them to do the work of governing the whole in a fair and consistent way. And we see that problems don't go away. The world is a really messed up place, but we do our best here in America, and I've been so proud in how we handle our conflicts. There's a lot of work to do. I sat in on the Criminal Justice Commission last month, and I paid attention to how much community interaction there is, how much input we have from people. People feel attached to the community because of the efforts of this council and the staff, and the city is a wonderful place. So let's be grateful for what we have. Let's strive to work as hard as we can to fix what we can, and let's understand that we can't be too disappointed with not being able to fix everything, but we do the best we can. That's what I do. I wake up to the wonder of the day. I do my best because it's right, and I share the joy I hope to find. That's how I live. I thank you all. I love this city, and we're on the right track. That's my train analogy. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Selmser?
Yeah, I'd just like to say hello to everybody on the council. And what I'd like to bring up tonight is, you guys know that a few of you know that I work for one of the local utilities out here. And I travel the roads out here daily, anywhere from 20 to 60 miles a day. And roads are getting worse. But the worst part of it is the street signs. You can't see street signs out here anymore. You can't see stop signs. You can't see any of the street signs that are up, that you can see in some places. The lettering is gone on them. Nothing is being done to maintain this. We're looking at a lot of lawsuits if something isn't done about this soon. Literally, I mean, get in here and drive around this town and take a look at it. It's really bad. And it's only getting worse. It looks like we haven't done anything to maintain any of our street signs or keep them visible for people to be able to know that there is a stop sign there or a street sign and what the letters do say on it. So if we get somebody, over at the city offices to get people out and make that a project for a couple of months, probably get it all cleaned up.
Thank you. If you could take a picture with your cell phone and send it to Robert, we could get on it that day.
I don't have that. I couldn't take that many pictures.
Okay.
I mean, literally, if people aren't seeing this when they're out there driving, it's bad. I've never seen it like this in all these years that I've had it. I'll take, you want pictures, I'll take them.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's people who work for this city that's a job that they have. And somehow it's being neglected,
Dan, I just find that I don't see it, and I've made a lot of money seeing things like that. I just haven't seen it. Bertha Suarez. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak before you today. It's my first time. I would like to speak to you about an issue that has been going on in the mobile home park community that I live in. It's located on 2515 East Avenue I with the nearest 2515 East Avenue I with the nearest cross street being 25th Street East. And we have had the water shut off continually over the summertime, and it gets shut off. We don't know why it gets shut off for an entire day, sometimes even 2 days. And the children that live in there, they don't have water to wash their hands when they use the toilet, and they're supposed to wash their hands to prevent diseases and infections. We don't have water to shower our kids if they're sick, for washing our dishes, for regular use in our home. And it happens continually, and it's partly because we have a faulty well water system in a mobile home park community that continually breaks down despite the minimal patchwork that they continue to make on it. It continues to break down, and it's just I don't think it's just right I don't think it's good living for the residents, because we pay our rent on time, and we believe we deserve a better water system. We're hoping that you guys could help us to resolve this issue, to improve our water system for our neighborhood, for these people that live here. There's about 56 mobile home spaces in that park particularly. And there's a lot of children that live there that go without water, and it's frustrating. And we call the park management, and they laugh at us. They tell us to get dirty pool water from the pools and to flush our toilets with the dirty pool water. They tell us to shower ourselves with the dirty pool water. And I came here with some of the residents and my children. We're hoping you could find a solution for us, that you could help us. Yes, sir.
Deputy Mayor, you have a job. I want you to work with city staff. I want an answer to this within 2 weeks. I want to know exactly how severe this problem is and when it's going to be fixed. And when I say fixed, they've got 30 days to never let it happen again.
Yes, please, if they could prevent future watersheds permanently.
Hey, she's one of the toughest lawyers in the state right now. She's going to help you with this, all right? And she'll work with Liz.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Did we know this was going on, Liz?
Yeah, the pumps on several mobile home parks in the city of Lancaster are on well, and the pumps break. and the parks are required to provide them with bottled water. They're required to
Yeah, they don't provide us that. They don't provide us.
East Mobile Home Park Inspector, did you ever talk to Steve Johnson?
Yes, I did, but
Okay. I got it. I'm hearing you. We will fix this.
thank
All right?
you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Put somebody in jail, would you? Oh, really? We do not leave our kids without water. We don't tell them. We don't tell people to. They shut my water off when I was a kid, and we had to go get water to flush the. I know what you're talking about. That does not happen in our city. All right?
School kids.
All right.
The elementary school kids had to go to school without showering, and the kids suffer.
This isn't going to happen again. All right. We will fix this.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And this is it's dirty. This is the water we wash our dishes with and our clothes with.
Where do you get that from?
From the pump. It's
Give that to her.
the faucet water.
Give that to her. I want that tested, okay?
Thank you.
Did we know this was going on?
Yes and me?
Yeah. No.
But once we know it, it'll be fixed immediately. There'll be people out there tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody told us
So Bertha, you're saying when the water is working, Bertha, that's how the water looks?
When I come, when you turn it back on, it comes on.
Okay.
I want to. She gets an award. This is incredible. You had the courage to come do this, and this has been going on for years. No, there is no bigger issue than we do not let our children drink water like that. All right? You're a hero. Let's celebrate her. I mean, this took a lot of courage. You're a hero. Thank you. We'll fix this. All right? We will fix this, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Michael Reeves.
Mayor, Council.
Wait a minute! Don't you go anywhere until we get your name and address. Seriously, you're the rock star of the month. Kitty, you're in second place now. Okay.
I just want to commend city staff for the work done on the Cedar Center. I had occasion to go to the grand opening. I ran into the city manager, and I was just terribly impressed by the work of Elizabeth and Rhonda and city manager's office in refinishing the center. It was like night and day. One thing that really impressed me about the whole thing, I mean, the floors were beautiful, the rooms were well lit and painted. From the top to the bottom, I checked one thing, and it really got me. All the windows could be opened. None of the windows were painted. To me, that's really important. If the air conditioning system ever goes down, or you have a big party in the main auditorium, you can open the windows and you don't have to use electricity or gas. And I just think that's so great that we as a city are so environmentally conscious of something like that. And in a job like that, it was really, really impressed me. And you guys did a great job, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? We all good? Good. We will now recess to closed session to discuss the matters listed on the agenda as items numbers 1 through 9. No? What?
I don't think we need to unless council has something they'd like to discuss.
No.
Now can we go to closed session?
Do we have something somebody wants to discuss?
No.
In closed session.
Then we don't need to.
Oh, we don't need to go to closed
We
session.
don't need to.
God is good. Okay. The City Council meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, September 9, 2014 at 5 p.m. Carol, I'm on the way home.